Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome, people who orbit, to tonight's live stream on the Orbital Alliance. How's it going, everybody? It's good to see you. Welcome to the last stream of 2021. That's pretty nuts to think about. This is live stream number 7 here on our YouTube channel. And if this is your first time ever watching anything live here on the Orbital Alliance, so glad that you're checking this out. Gonna be a lot of fun. We're just gonna hang out and chat about all things space. Could be anything, as long as it's related to the space. Fair game. We do throw a few other things randomly in there every week, but that's okay. It's hard to contain sometimes, especially with all you hooligans in the chat. You know who you are. but yeah, welcome to the channel. The Orbital Alliance is a space YouTube channel that helps people learn about space, whether it's a tiny little fact about astronomy or the latest news in space or some kind of adventure with astrophotography. This YouTube channel has it. So hopefully you learned something if this is your first time visiting. And if you do, would appreciate you liking this video, the live stream, or if you're watching it later after it's live, if you like it, that'd be great. And if you really loved it, would appreciate your subscription to the channel, because we live stream every week, every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central in the United States. And we also post all kinds of videos, posting some short form videos and some longer form videos, stuff that teaches you about all kinds of things. So if you appreciate all that stuff, be sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you do not miss any of the latest videos as they come out in real time. So hey, Ron Colson, what's good in the hood, my friend? Good to see you. Welcome back to the stream. Josh, don't forget the Funko. Last one of the year. Lots of pressure. Oh, you're right. Very, very true. And Greg Schroeder, what's up? Merry Christmas, man. Merry Christmas to everybody else as well. And if you celebrate Christmas, it's been a good one. You know, we had some good family time here. Hopefully you guys did too, wherever you are. And hopefully, most importantly, that you are staying safe if you're seeing friends and family. Yeah, Ron, I am rocking the German gear today for a special reason, actually. But I do enjoy my German heritage. I'm 25% German, and I do have a lot of pride in that. I love Germany, and it's the #1 place in the world that I would like to go. I've never left my own country, the United States. I would love to travel around the world, but the first place I would love to go to is Germany. It's also my favorite language. I've studied German for fun. I'm not fluent by any means, but I know some words, I know some phrases, and I love the German pronunciation of words. So hence German gear. This was a birthday present from my friend Johnny. Gosh, probably like 11 years ago now. It's a very old hoodie, but it's still in good shape and I still love it. But the fun thing is that this weekend, actually in 2 days, on the 31st, so Friday, the 31st, is my grandma, who is German, 100% German. She's a German immigrant, came from Germany in the early 50s when she was pregnant with my dad. He was born in 1953 in the United States, but she was pregnant with him as he came here. She's turning 100 on Friday. My German grandma is turning 100 on Friday. So I thought it'd be fun to celebrate German heritage on the live stream tonight by celebrating my Oma, or as we call her, Omi. We call her Omi. So it's like Grammy in German. It's like calling grandma Grammy. It's like a cutesy version. So we call her Omi. So alles Gute zum Geburtstag, Omi, as you celebrate your birthday, wishing you the best on your 100th birthday. She will not watch this. I don't think she watches this, but if you do at some point, Omi, celebrating with you this weekend, trying to liven up and light the fire early on Wednesday night. So yeah, so it's going to be great. Neil deGrasse Tyson tweeted that the speed in which Santa would have to travel around the world would vaporize the reindeer. Dude, Neil deGrasse Tyson has been on some kind of weird tirade. He tends to do that from now and again, but he's been on like this Christmas fact thing where he's kind of like debunks a lot of Christmas magic, if you will, with science, and it's all for humor's sake. But I love it. It's so funny. Guten Abend. Yeah, that's great. Hey, if you guys all know German, type it in the chat. Let's hear some German. This is quickly turning from space channel to German channel, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. And man, it's been a very interesting week, but also I guess a really good week. Jumping into the space news section here. We've been rocking the James Webb Space Telescope news pretty heavily, and we talked a lot about that last week. It launched, and it was successful. It launched on Christmas Day on the 25th. The launch was a success, and it's been going super well so far. It is super far away, but it's nowhere near the point that it needs to be to like start doing imaging yet. It's going to take a couple days or a couple of weeks. I don't even know how long it's going to take specifically, but it's on its way to that spot, L2 as they call it, Lagrange point number 2, for those who care. But the James Webb Space Telescope is starting to unfold in space. So all the like solar shields and all that are starting to unfurl and go into position, which I think is amazing. So Webb is on its way to doing great things. So stay tuned with that. I'll probably talk about it more and more every week. So celebrate that. It's a huge space win, and it's a really great way to end 2021 with a really, really, really big space win. This year was actually really huge for NASA, if you think about it. We landed the Perseverance rover in February on Mars. That was huge. You know, we've launched several more human missions to the space station, so continuing to launch humans from United States soil again, which has been a huge win, dating back to 2020. And then Yeah, we got web. I feel like there was a couple other things, but they're escaping me. So it's been great. Sorry, I just read Josh's Perfektenschlag. Yes, from The Office. If you guys are savvy with The Office, Dwight uses the term Perfektenschlag, which is basically like it's. I don't think it's a real word, but I think it's kind of like how if you mix English and Spanish, they call it Spanglish. You know, so like I don't have a good example, but if you kind of like a really lazy American trying to speak Spanish, like, oh yeah, like me gusta cheeseburgers, like that's saying I like cheeseburgers, but it's like in the most American way of English. That's Spanglish. Perfektenschlag, I'm pretty sure is the equivalent of Germlish. um, Good question, Ron. What is a Lagrange point? I I know what it is, but I don't also know. I also don't know what it is at the same time. So maybe I'll look it up right now and come up with a better answer than I could give you. There are certain points around the Earth and the Moon. I think it's something to do with gravity and the orbits. There are like strategic points. One's in between the Earth and the Moon. One's beyond the Moon, which is L2. That's where Webb is going. Then there's like other points that kind of like divulge off to the side. It's weird. I would do a horrible job of explaining it, and I probably don't know all of it myself, so I'm just gonna look it up. Lagrange points. In celestial mechanics, the Lagrange points are points of equilibrium. That's a good way of putting it. For small mass objects under the influence of two massive orbiting bodies, like the Earth and the Moon. Mathematically, this involves the solution of the restricted three-body problem, in which two bodies are very much more massive than the third. So if we're putting a satellite like or a telescope like Webb out into a certain point, I guess it's some form of stabilization, support, like the gravity maybe holds it in place there. Let's see here. NASA's official website, Solar System Exploration. Okay, yeah, perfect. So Lagrange points are positions in space where objects sent there tend to stay put. Gravitational pull of two large masses precisely equals the centripetal force required from a small object to move with them. These points in space can be used by spacecraft to reduce fuel consumption needed to remain in position. Brilliant. Okay, so there we go. There's our answer. That is a Lagrange point. Does that make sense? So Webb will be essentially in tow, like it's like jammed into a specific point beyond the Moon. And it'll kind of sit there. And then as we move in orbit around the sun and throughout the galaxy, Webb will just stay tucked in this spot due to mechanics, orbital mechanics. It's pretty amazing. So not only discovering that that's possible, but using it and shoving a $10 billion satellite into that little corner of the Earth Moon system is genius. I think that's it's so cool. It is a dance. Yes. Good point, Ron. For sure. It's yeah, it's like imagining like at a wedding, like a bride and a groom dancing, but having a mouse like dancing on like the dress of the bride, like tagging along, just kind of getting dragged. Like it's kind of the same thing, right? Yeah, Kayla, Germlish. That is the equivalent of like German English slang smashed together. I don't know, lazy German spoken by English speakers. All right. So that's been huge. Talking about Webb a lot. My whole news feed has been bugged with Webb. The other thing has been pull up I don't know how a good way to do this without copyright stuff. It's always the ongoing issue, isn't it? Copyright. I just need to ask some people for permission to share their photos sometime. The Comet Leonard. Have I talked about Comet Leonard on the stream? Remind me if I have. But for those of you who weren't around or didn't watch, or if I didn't at all, there's a comet that's kind of visible and has been for the last few weeks, and it's getting like really active and really interesting to look at. People have been taking amazing photos. I have not taken a photo myself of it. it's just been so crummy, the weather here. It's been so cloudy, and like the one chance I did have like to do it, it just wasn't ideal where I was at. So I wasn't even home. So it just it's visible after sundown in the northern hemisphere. If you look towards the southwest, towards Venus as it's setting in the sky, you can it's there. You can't see with your naked eye, so don't go out and look for it unless you have binoculars or a camera or a telescope. But it's like a greenish hue comet, like a beautiful tail. Some of the pictures, like I said, people have been posting are amazing, and there's like debris. People can see like debris and cloud gaseous clouds getting emitted off of it. It's been gorgeous. And last year we had comet Neowise, which was similar, but this one's different. And it's, I think this comet Leonard won't be around for another 80,000 years. So we're looking at kind of a unique comet that won't be around next time. Next time it's around visiting Earth, we won't be here by a long shot. So it's pretty cool. So that's been going on. Gosh, what else has been happening in the space realm? I'm going to remind myself here. Gosh. Yeah, pretty much my entire feed has just been Comet Leonard and Webb Telescope last week. So I may not even need to think about other things that are space related in the space news realm right now. Gosh, I'm just kind of like flipping through here just to see what's in and around. Yeah, well, maybe we can just wrap that section up. What space questions do you guys have tonight? Anything we can talk about that maybe I wouldn't think about? I'd love to just kind of keep a conversation rolling tonight. I'm letting the time be freeform. I'm not really like trying to stick to a particular time schedule. Last week we did a little bit shorter of a stream, and you know, it felt good, but I was in a rush, so I kind of like had to shut stuff down. But I do kind of want to like let tonight go a little bit and not feel like we're locked down. So freeform. And any questions, like, and there's no such thing as a stupid question either. And I might be able to learn something too if you guys have, like Ron asked about a Lagrange point. Like I knew what it was, but I couldn't define it. So like I learned a little bit more of like some good verbiage to surround my own like brain in and dip into that pool. So whatever you guys got, I'm happy to share what I know or look it up. Oh yeah, Ron, SpaceX and the Chinese space station. Like what is the relationship between the two, if at all, or how will they interact? Maybe that's the question. So, SpaceX being a launch provider from the United States, launching commercial crew and commercial cargo to the space station for NASA. They are contracted to do that. They also provide launch solutions for any other entity out there, other governments, businesses for satellites and communication. They, have the opportunity to do stuff. And China has a new space station that's been up, the Tiangong space station. I think that's what it is. And they have people up there. They've been doing spacewalks on their own space station. China's the only people allowed on their space station. They have nothing to do with the International Space Station. Oh, they had a near miss. Did they? I didn't see that. I'll have to look that up. Unless I'm trying to remember if I saw something. I'm thinking of something different. Or was it the Starlink? Was it Starlink? Hold on. Maybe I did hear something about that. Maybe it wasn't. Chinese station. Oh, I'm typing sideways a little bit here. Near miss in space. When was this? Oh yeah. So Starlink. Yeah. Maybe I saw some headlines whizzing about this, but I think it definitely got overshadowed by James Webb. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Ron. Yeah. Near miss with Starlink. Interesting. I'll have to read about this. Interesting. I couldn't tell you what height or altitude the Chinese space station orbits at. Let's see. Okay, so Starlink was at 555 kilometers. And they were descending to, so they're maybe deorbiting them. Or they're just lowering their orbit. and there was a risk for a potential collision, I guess. And China just got upset, saying like, "Hey, this was way too close. We demand action." Interesting. Okay. Well, that's not good. Yeah, nobody wants any sort of collision with that. 'Cause, I mean, especially since Starlink satellites they're small, but they're not tiny. That would be an issue if that hit a space station for sure. Going at tens of thousands of miles per hour, it'd be a nasty thing. Especially with human life on board, not a good deal. Definitely not fun. So, yeah. Let's ask every space entity out there to exercise caution when bringing satellites down, or lowering their orbit. But I'm sure there's been a lot of like hot-headedness in the space world right now with space debris. Obviously, we talked about that a few weeks ago with Russia and their problems. But then Russia started accusing the U.S. of doing some things, and it's just been messy. Everyone's looking to point fingers. So, not saying SpaceX is clear on this, but it's possible China's just trying to get in on the like, let's not be fans of the U.S. party, because they certainly have some friends in Russia with Russia to like, take that stance. But I just don't think it's worth the time and energy. But hey, PR is PR, right? And if you got a brand new space station, you're gonna do whatever you can to make sure it looks good, in the PR realm. So yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up, Ron. Thank you. Very interesting. Question: does the sun rotate? Yes. Good question, Josh. I believe it does, and I know this because I've taken pictures of the sun and with the solar filter, and I can see sometimes sunspots on the sun. And if I come back the next day, they're in a different spot. And if I come back the next day, they're a little bit further this way. And then eventually they start wrapping around the side and you don't see them anymore. I don't know how fast it spins. I could probably look that up too, but it does spin. And I don't think it's definitely not accounting for, like, I'm not noticing Earth's rotation around the sun, or revolution rather, because I feel like that would be so much slower from our perspective. So let me look it up. How fast does the sun spin? Sun rotates on its axis once every 27 days. Interesting. That's kind of crazy how similar that is to the moon. The moon orbits the Earth every 27 days and some change. So there's actually quite the similarity there. The equator spins the fastest, and it takes around 24 days to rotate, while the poles take more than 30 days. So they're talking about an average. I'm wondering what that is, because I mean, like, the sun is fusion gas. Like, it's it's not like a solid planet where it's like, hey, let's spin it. So parts in the middle spin faster, while this, the top is spinning a little slower. This is an exaggeration, but it's kind of the gist. It's fluid in its nature. It's not fluid, but I can see how it's not consistent from top to bottom. Interesting. But yeah, really good question, Josh. Thank you. Yeah, and there's all layers. I'm reading about this. This is crazy. So really cool. Here's some other space news that happened. I should look up when that launched. The Parker Solar Probe. When did that launch? Oh, it's 2018. Oh my goodness. Okay, so in August 12th, 2018, the Parker Solar Probe, NASA launched it. It was a probe, satellite, telescope, probe, data thing, trying to get as close to the sun as we possibly can to capture data that we've never seen it before, to take pictures, to heat temperatures, radiation, all the data. It's been en route to the sun, kind of been spinning and getting closer and closer. Well, it actually went and kind of kissed the sun recently for the first time. And it's the closest we've ever sent anything to the sun. And it's, going to survive. It's shielded. And I don't know how we figured that out, what was capable of being that close to the sun and not just getting totally obliterated. But it was pretty big news getting a picture back from the Parker Solar Probe for the first time. Let me look up. See if NASA's got some pictures I can show you guys. Okay, I'm gonna switch to a screen share really quick. And you see this? These are some of the first pictures sent back of being in the sun's corona, which is kind of like the outer layer of the sun. And what's cool here is you see all this, like, you see all the, like, what is it, plasma or energy or heat or the outer layer of the sun, like, streaking by, going left to right horizontally. That's a picture straight off of this telescope, or that's not a telescope, like the probe. And you can see actually in the left one, or the left, the middle, and the right in the top row, you can see the Milky Way in the background. So the center of the galaxy is like bang right there. And it's moving a little bit left to right. So there is actually an animated video that stitches all the photos together. Really, really cool. But hey, this has never been done. And I don't know how close they're going to get, or if they're going to like slam this thing into the sun or what, but I hope they learn a lot from it. It could be really neat. So thanks, NASA, for showing your photo. Yeah, gosh. Okay. So I thought this would be fun to talk about tonight. I didn't get to do it last week because I cut time short. We got a question here. How the heck did they manage to get the signal out of the sun? And I can't. Okay. Josh said, how the heck did they manage to get a signal out of the sun? And I can't get a dang phone signal anywhere in North Carolina. That is an excellent point. Right. And you figure all the radiation would interfere with radio signal. I don't know, man. That's a really good question. One that's befitting of NASA scientists and rocket engineers, and not me. I wish I had that answer. One day when we get some live interviews on here with people who are a lot smarter than me, I will ask that question for you. And maybe we can solve it and help North Carolina become more connected. Let's do it. We should start the hashtag for North Carolina. That'll be the next big campaign that we'll do here on the channel. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna make a lot of people mad. Okay, so last week we talked about how you can. Gosh, it was already last week. It feels like 3 weeks ago. We talked about how you can look for the space station in the sky and what resources you can use to get the data and how to read the data so you can go outside and know where it's going to come from and how high it's going to go and where it's going to disappear in the night sky from your location. That was super fun. And we can talk a little bit of like a refresher on that. But I was going to just show you guys, you guys have seen my solar transit and lunar transit pictures of the space station before. They're super fun to do. I thought it'd be fun to kind of talk a little more in detail about how I get those shots. Let's see. I have it under ISS. So I'm going to throw this back here. It's like this photo and this one, and here's one of the sun. They're really cool photos, and you have to be in a really specific spot at a specific time. So I thought I'd kind of show you guys the website I used. It's totally free. And if you were so inclined, you could attempt to photo yourself. You do need some gear to go with it. You can't see this with your naked eye when it's happening. It's way too fast and way too far away. But I thought it'd be fun to talk about that tonight. Josh's question here: per gravity, doesn't time on the sun actually move very slightly slower? Do they have to compensate for that? That's a good question. I don't have the answer. Let's think though. It's possible. I don't know what the gravitational influence the sun has, and if it's that much different than Earth to be that much noticeable. I have to look that up. That's a good question. For those of you who've seen the movie Interstellar, you would have seen this visualized in that movie where, they go to another star system and they go to a star system that has like a black hole, and the closer you get to the black hole, the more gravity affects time. It slows time down. So time elsewhere is moving way faster than time here. So I think it's like 51 years or something like that as it takes to like pass it, even though it was like 1 year out here or however, whatever the math was. So would that happen as we fly past the sun? I don't think so. Probably just because the proximity is a lot closer, and we're just like 93 million miles is not that far in the terms of space. So I would say probably not much. And the sun isn't that big. It's like a small, medium star. If it was a really huge star, had a ton of mass, a lot more mass. And there's a lot of stars that, make our sun seem like a little pea. It's like a pea compared to a basketball. There are stars that are that much bigger than ours. So I would think those stars would have much more impact. And even then, you'd probably have to be way further away. So I don't know. That's another question for a smarter person than me, but still a really good question. I would like to know that answer. Okay, let's see. That's not the right website. Cool. So if you wanted to go take a picture of the space station going in front of the sun or in front of the moon, a lunar transit, a solar transit, as they call it, you would need to have the precise space station data, its orbital data, to know when it would be going in front of the sun relative to your location. And that's probably the simplest way of putting it. You need to answer that question. And there's a free website that does that for you, which is great. Again, somebody smarter than me figured that out. So here's the website. They just updated it for the first time in years. I don't know when. I've never seen it be updated since I've been looking at it. I've been looking at it for a long time. So this is it. It's really simple, really, really simple. And there are ads on here to kind of fund the page. So I don't blame them. It's free. So I'll zoom in here. ISS Transit Finder, and the site, if you want to go to it right now, you can. It's just transit-finder.com. So transit-finder.com. And it'll take you here. Now, it then gives you some data to enter, some preliminary data. Super easy to do. You don't need to really know much about your own area at all. And it wants to know, your location, and you can select it from a map, and then it will ask you what date range are you looking in. And usually it gives you about 1 month worth of time. So it doesn't look too far ahead beyond a month. Because the orbits change just naturally. They decay from atmospheric drag and all kinds of things. So they can try to keep it as accurate as possible. And, orbits change all the time. They do orbital maneuvers and shifts in the space station to change things, to dodge debris. So even if you wanted to know a transit opportunity in 2 months, you just wouldn't have it that accurate, until you got close enough to the date. So, because things just happen. So, you put in the date, and then the date range, usually, so like I said, a month, and then you put a little travel distance. Like, I'd be willing to travel, 30 miles to get to a transit, and that might be an hour drive, give or take. So this is in kilometers. So if I did that, maybe like, 30 miles in kilometers, that's about 50 kilometers. Or did I say that wrong? Sorry. 50 kilometers is about 30 miles, give or take. Then you hit calculate. And so let's select a map. You're like, I'm going to pretend that, okay, let's pretend I live in London. That'll be fun. To all my friends in London, cheers to you. And I'm going to pretend I live there with you guys. Okay, load that map. Here we go. So here's London. I'm going to click the point here, right in the central London. I've never been in England, so I couldn't tell you where I'm clicking or what I'm doing. I might, let's go. I know the River Thames, right? That's how you say it, Thames. Westminster. Is that Westminster Abbey? Is that where it is on the Thames? So I'm going to zoom out. It looks like the satellite data is loading super slow tonight. Maybe it's because of my stream. So we select that, hit save and close in the upper right corner. And then the GPS data, or GPS, like your coordinates, your map coordinates are actually like input there. And then I'm just going to say the next month. And I would say I'd be willing to drive about 30 miles, 50 kilometers, and then just hit calculate. There's an extra box down here, which is new, and it states that it does include data for Hubble telescope and the Tiangong Chinese space station, which we were talking about earlier. And oh, hey, Johnny, dude, what's up, man? Joining the stream. Wow, you are Deutsch today, using kilometers too. Yeah, that even more so. And I mentioned you earlier, Johnny, because you gave me this hoodie back in like 2010 or something. So thanks, man. I don't know if you remember that. We were still in college, but you gave it to me for my birthday, I think. Or it was like an early birthday present or a late birthday present. I can't remember what it was because the World Cup had just happened, and we went to the mall in the college area, and we saw all the different countries had different hoodies, and you and I both were like, dude, that Germany hoodie is awesome. And you're like, well, I owe you a birthday present anyway, because I don't know if you missed it or it was early, and you're like, I'll just get it for you, and you bought it for me, so thanks, man. Still wearing it, and I'm repping it. I was telling people earlier on the stream that I'm wearing this, to honor my German grandmother who's turning 100 on Friday, so going full Deutsch. And this hat was from my sister who went to Germany a couple years ago, and she got me this hat from Germany. This was from like Kohl's. This was not from Germany, because I guess it would say Deutschland if it was actually authentically German. I think the hat says Deutschland on it. I think it's got a crest with like the eagle on it. So thanks man for hanging out and for bringing up the German stuff. Oh, Josh, dude, you're right. I am forgetting the Funko. You see, this is why you're here, just to keep me in check. Every week we do a Funko Pop figure from my collection here and feature one, and I need to pick one that would be suitable for this week, and I just kind of always drop it here on the table to be the featured Funko. So, yeah. Okay, so if you're a Star Wars fan, you'll know that today, the 29th of December, 2021, is the launch of the Book of Boba Fett on Disney Plus, and I'm going to be watching it after this stream because I haven't watched the first episode yet. So I don't have a Boba Fett, but I will pull the closest thing to it. I do have a Mandalorian from The Mandalorian. This is Mando Din Djarin. He will be the featured Funko of the week, wrapping his Mandalorian heritage and lineage. Also, yeah, like lineage connections. It's kind of the theme this week. So, so Mando going right there. Funky Funko. Yes, that might need to be the name of the segment here. And one day when I have an actual budget for this this stream, maybe I'll hire somebody to animate a really cool title bumper, and I'll do like a little jingle that is a couple seconds long. But like, I'm not even gonna try to make something up right now because that'd be the worst. But maybe we'll call it Funky Funko. Oh, Ron, did you watch it? The episode was good. Okay, sweet, great, good, positive endorsement for the Book of Boba Fett. I'm very anxious, and we'll keep this spoiler free. We'll keep this stream spoiler free from anything. This is the way. Being spoiler free is the way. So, very, very good. Very good. So I probably should have thrown it to sorry, I was on the wrong camera here. There's the close up of Mando for you. Full bobblehead. He's got the big rifle, which, fun fact, the rifle he uses in the Mandalorian has like the little prongs up here. Let's turn around. I need to get a light on it. Everything's backwards. Can you guys see? Maybe over my face. It's got like prongs on it. That was like a realization of the original Boba Fett in the Star Wars cartoon, the holiday special. Was that the holiday special? There was a cartoon version where Boba Fett was kind of introduced, and he had this gun that could like zap people, and it was this gun. But it's never made its way into any other Star Wars until The Mandalorian, like 40 years later. So Mando uses that actual gun to like disintegrate people, which is pretty cool. No animals were harmed is all I can say. Okay, good. Fair enough. That's clean. That's good news. Very, very good. In the Orbital Alliance, you could just say we're all simple men trying to make our way through the universe. That is very good. Django quote. There are some women here too. So we will. I mean, us like who have been chatting in the chat right now. Yeah, we're men. But we can be simple women making their way in the universe too. Sweet. Well, let's throw it back here to the transit stuff because I don't want to like lose my train of thought too much. But featured Funko Mando from The Mandalorian. Sweet. So yeah, we were talking about entering this information. So you enter all that in, you hit calculate, and it'll throw you to a map in just a moment. Kaboom. Well, not the map yet. It gives you a list of possible sightings. There's 4 in London, 1 Tiangong, and it shows you the name right under the picture, and 3 ISS transit opportunities. Excuse me. I'm gonna take a drink real quick. A little bit cotton mouth. Cool. Great. So a couple things to look at here first. There's some indicators that the website gives you that show you the quality of the flyby, the pass, the transit. And not every transit is one worth pursuing. Kind of like station passes, just without the transits. Like some of them are just really crummy and they're a total waste of time. They're like visible very dimly for like 10 seconds. You're like, why did I even bother going outside? But other ones, they're like 6-minute flybys, and they're right above you and they're super bright. And those are the ones you want to pursue. So you kind of look for the right data that tells you which one is a good pass. Same thing with transits. You want to look at this data and interpret which one of these is not only is there going to be a transit happening, which is kind of rare, but which one is a good one. And I can already see that there's 2 good passes here. So if you look at the list, you can see that one is red and the others are white. What that means is, based on the location information that I put into this website, it's saying this red one, this Tiangong pass, is actually going to happen and exactly where I am on the map. The information I put in there, you can see it from there. I don't have to move anywhere. So it's within that like initial zone that I told it to be in. The white ones are, hey, you can't see it from right where you're at, but we're going to tell you where it is and you could travel to that location. Does that make sense? That's the difference. So red ones are like, oh, sweet, I can go in my driveway and see this one. Whereas like a white one might be like, I have to drive an hour or maybe 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever. I have to drive some amount of time to get there. Yeah, and it'll show you that in these images, these visualizations. So based on your location right now, that Tiangong pass will be like over the, let me see if I can zoom in here. How's that? Is that better? It'll go through the sun. So the sun is depicted by, the yellow circle, of course, and the moon is this little white circle. It will depict the accurate moon phase of that particular transit. So this one here, if you were around a couple weeks ago, we talked about moon phases, and this one looks to be like a waxing gibbous, like it's almost a full moon. This one is just after the full moon, like a waning gibbous, it looks like. And then, gosh, is that the same day? Oh, it's a couple days later. Yeah. So relatively full illumination on those moons, but the sun, of course, is always there are no phases on the sun because it's the only light source in our solar system. But it's going to show you exactly where it is, and it's not quite that little arrow there is showing you the direction that this particular station, the Tiangong station, is going to go through the sun, going to pass it. It shows you the arrow, the right direction, and how high or low across the disk that it's going to fly by. So the data I put in there, it said it's going to go just above center. You could move slightly so that it moves to the center. You can get it to go right down the middle, kind of like my photos here. I always try to get to the center because it gives you the most amount of pictures, because the sun is round, and if you let the pass go close to the edge, because the circle of the sun or the moon like will crop essentially the pass, you won't see the station beyond it unless it's an illuminated lunar transit. But with the sun, you just want to get to the middle and see as many as you can. And you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes more, depending on your camera equipment. John, you're a waxing gibbous. Yes. It does sound like a good insult, doesn't it? Yeah. That's good. I'm going to keep that in my back pocket next time somebody, trolls me. It's like, dude, you're a waxing gibbous. So there you have it. So there's that. And if I look down here, like this one won't be visible where I have my data location here. So it's showing me that it's going to be way far above it. So I would need to move to have those two things, like the moon and the transit, line up. So I don't know how far away that would be. We can look at it on the map in a second. But if that makes sense so far, you kind of get the gist. These other 3 won't happen at this map location. But also, it gives you a ton of data on each particular pass. It looks like a lot of numbers and kind of crazy jargon, and it kind of is. And even I don't understand every one of these things necessarily. However, I can tell you probably the most important thing, which is the angular size. And each one says CSS angular size, ISS angular size, and it gives you a number. And this is sort of like a measurement of how much of the sky does this station take up, and that changes actually based on the object, because every time the station goes around the Earth, it's in a different height, a different altitude every single time. It's not consistent. It's not always at 250 miles above the Earth. That would be crazy, because there's different heights, there's different distances from you. If the orbit changes, sometimes they raise the orbit, they lower it. Sometimes it's 240 miles or 260 miles. That changes, how much of the sky it takes up, if that makes sense. So if I was looking there in this particular case here, 59.57 arc seconds. So they measure how much of the sky an object takes up in, it's arc minutes and arc seconds. I don't know why they call it that. I think it's probably one of the silliest like ways to come up with a measurement. It's basically a measurement of distance, but measured in time, but hence the arc. I think it's how much of an arc does this take up in the sky. It can be measured kind of in that like dome. It's like how much of the dome image do you see? So 59.57 arc seconds. The space station generally, ISS, takes up at its maximum like in the low 60s. So 61, 62, 63, maybe 65 arc seconds. And that's measured by the quotes. If it was arc minutes, it would be an apostrophe. So it's a quotation is arc seconds and apostrophe is arc minutes. So 59.57, that's really huge. So the space station is going to appear larger. Excuse me, it's going to appear larger to you. So if this was the space station in my hand, it would look like this. But if it was like 30 arc seconds, it'd be further away. You're going to see less detail. If it was 20 arc seconds, it'd be further away. If it were at 10, it means it's like way back here. So if you think of the difference between seeing the detail in my hand here or seeing the detail in my hand here, you're going to want to take a picture of this one, right? You can see a lot more. You can see all the detail of my hand. Same with the space station. You want the highest number you can get. If I scroll down here, 37 on this one, 37 arc seconds. It's decent. You'll see the space station. You'll probably see some solar panels. But any lower than that, you're going to start just seeing kind of a black blob. Not much definition to it. But my picture here, this is pretty much 57 arc seconds. It's 59, 57, 58. I can't zoom because my website's annoying, but you get the picture. The Tiangong is a lot smaller, and I think it's further away. A lot further away. Okay, here we go. So 1,400 kilometers away. Space station, 463 kilometers away. Very different. That's a lot farther away. So the angular size, 2.64 arc seconds. You're probably not going to see much at all. Probably just going to be a little blip. But that's kind of your difference. We got some chat here. Hey, what's up, Brad? Take a picture of that hand. I should take a picture of my hand and just, here we go. Why not? Because we can. You guys are going to get a behind the scenes picture of my studio light here, which is, all right, let's go here. There's a picture of that hand. Just did it. You've seen it here first, friends. You're also getting a little teaser of something I'm going to show you a little bit later. Josh has a question. Why do we call the moon by its celestial class and not a name like Luna? Same with the sun and Sol. Why don't we don't call the Earth planet? Yeah. Yeah, dude, you make an excellent point. It's kind of reminding me of like the time we were talking about like, why do we call dirt on Earth? Like, oh, I'm in the earth moving business, right? Like I gotta move that earth. What do you call it on Mars? Like, hey, I'm gonna go move some Mars. What is Martian dirt called? And I don't know. Maybe we just haven't answered that question yet. So yeah, I think it's very thoughtful. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't like it. I don't like calling the moon. Yeah, it's the moon, but it's the only one we have. Sure. Maybe it's just laziness. Humans are lazy. Inherently lazy. We can be adventurous and exciting, hence James Webb Space Telescope, but I think it's just inherent laziness. I would love to call it Luna, because I would walk outside, but like, look at Luna in the sky. That's amazing. Look at Sol, our sun. Sol is rising. The sun is rising. Yeah, it's so mundane, boring. So I definitely don't think we would call the Earth planet. But that, again, let's queue up your questions, Josh, for again, and someone else who's smarter than me. I wish I had the right answer. Red Earth. Brad suggests Red Earth. Yeah, that's probably a better way of putting it. Yeah, so Martian soil being called Red Earth. Possibly. It could work. I wonder, yeah, would you have to call every other planet's soil the color and then Earth? So if you went to like, gosh, I don't know. Pluto's got some like grayish, brownish dirt, I guess. So it's like, hey, Pluto, yeah, let's go with like brown Earth. Maybe that's the best way to do it. Stick it by the color, call it Earth. Sweet. How are we doing here on details? Sorry, let me just check some. There's the stream. Nice. Okay. Great. So let's continue some of the Dirt 2.0. That's brilliant too. You know, let's start a poll. I'll post it to my Twitter. And let's have people vote. So maybe I'll post it to the Orbital Alliance Twitter. Let's do a vote for the best name for Martian soil. Earth, Red Earth, Dirt 2.0. Any other suggestions? Maybe we need one more. Anyone else out there got a name for what we can call Martian dirt? Only the very top of the dirt is red. Oh yeah, maybe that's true. Because of it's iron oxide. Is that right? It's mixing with the atmosphere and it kind of creates like a reddish iron. It's rust, right? Like a rusty color, like actual rust particles. Am I wrong? Somebody correct me. Because it's kind of similar here too, right? Like I remember being up in Wisconsin, North Wisconsin, where there's actually like a lot of iron ore in the dirt. And there's like some really big iron mining businesses up in northern Wisconsin and the upper peninsula of Michigan. Let me throw it back here to my camera. Yeah, I remember like saying like, why is the earth, here we go. Why is the dirt like super red up here? And someone's like, yeah, it's iron. And that's why there were a lot of like iron mining industry here in like the 1800s, in the late 1800s and stuff. There was like iron business industry up here. Like, oh, interesting. Cause down in Illinois where I'm from, like their dirt is brown. There's just not enough iron in there. So I think iron and rust, creating a reddish color. So under Martian soil, is it like more brown? I need to look that up. That's crazy. See, this is awesome. Who's learning? I'm learning. This is awesome. Marvin dust. That's also good too. Marvin the Martian. Yeah, good one, Johnny. Marvin dust. I kind of feel like I need to talk like this, if I'm gonna have Marvin dust. I'm gonna make that poll. Give me a second, guys. Let me switch over to my Orbital Alliance Twitter account. And I'll retweet it on my personal Twitter too if you guys are looking for that one. Oh, it's gray. Okay, thanks, Ron. Gray under the red, rusty Martian topsoil. Let's create a poll. If Earth dirt is called Earth, then what is Martian dirt called? Great. Choice number 1. Here, I'll throw over the screen share here so you guys can see this. I'm making it real time. If Earth dirt is called Earth, then what is Martian dirt called? So let's call it Mars. That's choice number 1. What else do we have here? Red Earth. That's a good one. Let's make another option. I think we can make 4 options, maybe 5 if we're lucky. Mars or Dirt 2.0. That one cracks me up. I might vote for that for creativity. I mean, heck, if you can name stars and name craters and you can name the probes we send out there with these crazy names, they do contests. Why don't we get to name things like dirt? Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Who wants to tweet NASA? They probably have a name for it. Like lunar dirt is called regolith. A certain part of the moon's dirt. It's like the dust on the surface called regolith. So I would have to assume they've got a name for Martian dirt, but who talks about that? I haven't heard it. Would soil have to have decomposed matter? Otherwise, it is just dust or sand. Good question, Ron. You're probably right, because Earth soil has decomposed plants and bugs and humans, animals, all throughout it. Microorganisms, things like that. Dead stuff, probably fertilizing it and putting nutrients into it. Maybe that's the delineation. So they're organics or what's the word? Bio particles. There's a better word and it's escaping me. Anyone know that word? Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. You know what I mean? Dirt 2.0, and then we had Marvin Dirt. Is that what it was, Johnny? Marvin Dust. Okay. Okay, it's only allowing 4. So I'll put the poll up there for like 3 days. Let's do it. Your polls are bad and you should feel bad. Yeah. Yes, this is true. What is that reference from, Johnny? I feel like I'm like drawing a blank on that too. I'm having a massive like brain fart going on. Biomass, possibly biomass. I feel like it's not what I was thinking, but that could work. Like not carbons, hydrocarbons, bioorganics. It's whatever. Okay. Soil. Yeah. Okay. I'm officially tweeting this. It's on the Orbital Alliance Twitter, which is, if you want to follow, it's at Orbit Alliance YT. So I couldn't get the Orbital Alliance. It was taken. So at Orbit Alliance YT for YouTube. Orbit Alliance YouTube. So go there and vote. I'll retweet it to my official Twitter as well. And you guys can find that poll. What a ridiculous poll. But I also love it. It's oh, Zoidberg. Okay, thanks, Johnny. Perfect. Let's see. Let me switch over here so I can do 2 things at once, which I'm bad at. Okay. Tweeting it. Yeah, there's another community reference. Yeah, Johnny. Yeah, confirming it. Yep. Got some Community fans out there. Who else has watched the show Community? Used to be NBC, then was canceled, and then was brought back, and then was canceled, and then they brought it back on Yahoo Screen. Yahoo bought it and finished the show on. Was it season? It was just season 6, right? I can't remember anymore. Brilliant show. Watch Community. I think it's on Netflix at this point. I think it got moved to Netflix. Okay, this question came up on tonight's live stream. Let's see. Comment. Great. All right. I tweeted it to my official Twitter too on my own. Great. So this has been fun. Let's swing it back around here to the transits, and we'll wrap that up so we can close up that little brain segment here. So again, yeah, angular size is the one number you want to look for. How big is it going to be in your location? So if I were looking at this, I would not bother with the first one. I wouldn't bother with the last one. I would look at these first 2. And the next thing we do is I'm going to click on the map. So again, we used London. And it shows you all the data that you just saw before, and it kind of cleans it up. It shows you the azimuth, the altitude, and then the transit duration, which is how much time does it take for the space station to go from one end of the sun or the moon to the other end. In this case, it's the moon. I clicked a lunar transit. This is 0.56 seconds. It is stupid fast. That is half a second for it to cross the surface of the moon. And you got to be ready. So as you can see, it kind of depicts it for you. Something about moon sightings. And I wonder if I go back here. This does not show any in particular. The little arrow is gray in this. There is a chance that the moon has a lunar transit opportunity where the arrow is white. The difference there is illuminated or unilluminated, and that is based on whether the space station is in the Earth's shadow or if it's reflecting sunlight back at you. Illuminated are super cool, which is the very first one I showed you guys here. No, this one. You can see the space station. It's lit up. It's you can see the solar panels and the colors. Whereas this one down here, which is extra hard to see, it's like a silhouette. This is a non-illuminated, and this is an illuminated. In this case, it is non-illuminated, which is fine. It's still really cool. It's going to happen really fast. 58.96. I think it changed a little bit. And then next thing it gives you, I'm going to close this data out here. Then it sticks a little bar on the map. So what are you looking at here? First of all, the green arrow is the data location that I put in. So if I lived in London right there, that's where I would be. The transit is that blue line. So what you want to do is you want to get within that blue line on the map. You can't see the transit from here. You have to be up here on the map. So let's get into the circle. So say I click in here, it's going to relocate. It'll give you data information for that particular spot specifically. And this will be different than if I clicked here versus if I clicked in the middle. The time, the angular size might be a little different. The transit duration, it's going to be different. So you have to be strategic. And of course you want to pick an actual location that you're safe to be in. You can't just like be in a river or a lake or be on private property. You might want to go to a public store, like a parking lot that you can take photos in. And like I said, I like to get to the middle. So there's a dotted line right in the middle there. As close as you can get to the middle means that pass, as you can see in the image here, is going to go right through the middle of the lunar disk or the solar disk, aka the image of the sun or the moon. So that's right in the middle. But if you click on the edge here, where's the arrow? All the way at the top of the moon. And the same would go for the other side. If I clicked all the way on the top here, it goes to the bottom. That makes sense. I kind of said that weird. If you go to the top of the bar, according to my screen, the transit's going to happen at the bottom. So go to the middle, you get the most pictures possible, and that'll be ideal. So I don't know where East Finchley or Wood Green or Wembley or any of these other places are, but hey, they're going to see a transit in a little bit. Also, the transit's visible as long as that bar is blue. So if you go all the way out here, you won't see the transit. And I clicked it off of it, so now it disappeared. Let me click back to it here. Here's a different one. So you want to be anywhere in that bar, and certain ones are thinner than others. So solar transits and lunar transits are thinner or thicker. So it gives you less room to work with width wise. And there are some reasons to be on the edge versus the middle too. Sometimes you want to like get a really close up image of it just kind of skipping off the surface. It's a really cool picture to take. You just maybe get the chance of taking one picture instead of 20. So pretty neat. Hopefully you guys gives you kind of like a little bit of a preview. The one other thing too is that green circle is the distance that you set in the initial information settings for like how far away you're willing to look for a transit. So in this case, I think it was like 50 kilometers, 30 miles or so. So that kind of gives you a sense for how big that circle is. If you go beyond that circle, it's not going to give you any data for any transits that are visible from that location. So yeah, anyway, it's a lot of data. It's a lot of fun. But I pulled this up, usually 3 or 4 weeks before a transit, get the data, put it on my calendar, and then I plot it, practice it, keep checking throughout the week, see if anything's changed, because it does change sometimes. Sometimes it moves significantly. Other times it just like nudges a little bit. I got to go a few hundred feet to the left or something like that. But it's usually reliable. This site is very reliable. You can trust it, and always check it when you get to the location. If you're going to try to take a picture, check it check it. I usually check it multiple times when I'm actually set up with my gear. I'm like, did refresh. Did anything change? Because you never know if it's going to happen at a different second. And it does give you up at the top a very specific time. So this one here happens at like, ooh, let's see. Let's find a more like, is that really interesting? Okay, so here's 1600. That's 4 o'clock. So 4:01 p.m. 49 seconds and 0.37 milliseconds after that. That's a very, very specific time. And sometimes it's just the last 2 digits that change. Sometimes the whole second changes, the 49. Maybe if I updated this at the last second, it might say 16:01:50. And that's going to change when you're looking at your atomic clock app on your phone. You're paying attention to when the transit's going to happen to the moment. Because again, when you're messing with half a second, you don't have a whole second to miss. You want to be right on to the half second, to the split second. And that's going to be something to keep looking for. Cool. So let's do this. Let me jump back to the camera. Yeah. That is how you can interpret lunar or solar data for transits when you're trying to do astrophotography. It's a lot of fun. I do love it. Would you guys ever try this? Let me know. Would you ever attempt to do something that crazy? Like I said, I've said before, I've done a lot of these transits. I didn't keep track of how many I've done in my life. Probably 15, give or take. And I have like probably a 50% success rate, mostly because of my own error. The other times there have been weather. Clouds have gotten in the way. I've had a lot of busts with that. But primarily it's because I've messed up. Wrong settings, or I didn't time it right. It happens. But they're super tense, but also a lot of fun. I'd drink whiskey next to you while you did it. Will you share that whiskey with me? That sounds great. Also, what whiskey are you drinking in this particular scenario? Is there a space-themed whiskey? Also, can we make it? That'd be sick. And yes, hopefully we could probably do that while it's at nighttime too. So let's make sure it's a lunar one, so we don't have to like do it at like 8 in the morning. So anyway, if you guys are just joining the stream, welcome to the Orbital Alliance live stream. Thanks for tuning in tonight. If you're into space stuff or anything astronomy or astrophotography, this is the place to be. I hope you learned something. And if you do learn something about space, would appreciate your support by subscribing to the YouTube channel. Hopefully you guys find the little red button at the bottom of the page, or on your phone, on your device, whatever it is, hit subscribe. And if you do, the little bell will pop up next to it. Be sure to ring it so you don't miss any new content as it gets posted. Would appreciate your support, and thank you for tuning in. Let's see. Ron would have a beer. There you go. Ein Bier. And then, Brad says there is. Australia has one. It's called Starward. Oh my gosh. We need this. I wonder if it's any good. Wait, have you had it, Brad? Have you had Starward whiskey? What would wine made from Martian grapes taste like? Iron? Oh my gosh, that's a really good question too. Josh with the heavy hitters tonight, man. I don't know. Martian wine. Well, hey, one thing I know for sure, it's gonna happen at some point, hundreds of years from now, when we've actually got like vines and like biodomes on Mars. Guarantee you someone's going to make wine. People are going to want to have some tasty adult beverages to partake in. So, Brad says, not yet. I will buy a bottle for a transit day. Perfect. I'm in, man. Let me know. It will be a red. Oh, that's awesome, Ron. It will be a red wine. There's no way they'd be making white wine on Mars. Come on. I'm getting a 40 of that. What is that like a meme going on? I feel like I heard, what was that? Was it in, was it in Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Did Jake Peralta say 40? What is they were drinking something. I don't know what the alcohol was, but it was, yeah, they called it 40. 40. 40 ounces. Yeah, but like is that like a alcohol term? Say I want a 40. Or is it just a Brooklyn thing? Would you say 40? Is that a Brooklyn accent? I am uncultured. Oh, this has been amazing. You guys, I think this has been like the most like off the chains like in terms of humor live stream we've had. This has been great. Um what other questions do you guys have? What do you want to talk about with space? What things are you curious about? What sort of things have you heard? What refreshers? You'd be like, dude, learned about this in school, but I kind of forgot about it. Trying to think of some things. We can wrap it up here in a little while, but I'm having fun. You guys having fun? The stream is not being temperamental, though. That's good. A couple weeks ago, we had a huge mess of stuff. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Such a weird scenario. YouTube was telling me the stream had no feed. The connection was awful, and it was going to shut off the stream at any minute if it didn't revive itself. OBS was telling me, hey, you have no data going out. And then everyone was like, your stream was fine. No hitches. It was okay. And I'm like, where's the inconsistency here? I don't understand, but it's been great. Everything says excellent connection, green lights, high bit rate. I'm like, I'm okay with this now. So yay YouTube, yay OBS, and thank you ISP for giving me good internet today. Let's see. Dude, Dantooine Vineyards, let's found it. Josh, that's a great idea. Yes. Knights of the Republic reference there. Oh man, dude, stop it, man, for making good ideas. Oh man, oh, that's too good. Maybe we can just start a whole like series, like a brewery and a. This is gonna go from YouTube space education YouTube channel to like alcohol connoisseur YouTube channel very quickly. Brad asks, where are hover cars, and will I get one on Mars? Yeah, that's a good question. Problem with hover cars right now is they're loud. You can make a hover car. You can make a helicopter type vehicle. There are like, I did see something. What is it? It's like the Jetson. Hold on, let me find a picture of this. Jetson 1, I think it's called. There's a video. It's like a quadcopter, but it has a seat in it. And I don't know what kind of let me see. I don't want to do this with copyright. I want to send to the screen here. But yeah, it's like a little seat. It's like a go-kart. Like imagine Mario Kart, but with like propellers instead of 4 wheels. And you can hover and fly around. See, the thing is like drones, like my drone, like a little like photography drones, like they're small, but the rotors make so much noise. They're really loud. It's like, if you scale that up to like the size of a go-kart, the noise is just insane. So I feel like people don't want to make anything that flies like that, that you could have in your house or your driveway, because it's just gonna be a massive domestic disturbance. That's probably the biggest hindrance. Like helicopters are so loud. You could hear them forever away because the rotors are ripping through air, making all kinds of like air disturbances. So it's probably the biggest thing. But once you do, I'm sure you can get them on Mars, because after all, there is a helicopter called Ingenuity on Mars. It's a little drone helicopter, and they've been doing test flights all year since it landed there in February, and it's been successful. The problem with Mars is that there's like, 30% of Earth's atmosphere or something like that, maybe less, 10%. I can't remember. Maybe I'm confusing it with gravity. But there's less air to push on to propel yourself up. So you probably got to like spin your copters way faster. So even if we do get flying cars here on Mars, on Earth, here on Mars, dude, we're already on Mars. This is a thing. On Earth, you're gonna have to adapt to the technology to improve even more to make it capable on Mars. Whether it's a rotor, like a helicopter, or a jet engine, or some kind of like ion propulsion, I don't know. Plasma propulsion. It'll probably happen here first, and then move to Mars a lot later. Excuse me, I'm getting hoarse. Johnny asks, what is my favorite constellation or asterism? Good question. For those of you who are new to the channel, I did one of my very first 60 seconds of space videos was what is an asterism? And it's basically like calling it a fake constellation is a crude way of putting it. Constellations are official. They're like the patterns in the sky that have been around since the ancient Greeks, and the International Astronomical Union has certified, I think, 88 constellations. There are 88 in the sky that's seen all around in the celestial sphere around the Earth, and there are some though that are kind of parts of constellations or like fake patterns that people kind of made up. They're kind of more like slang, if you will. It's probably the wrong way of putting it, but they're called asterisms. They're kind of like unofficial constellations. People kind of just made up. So like Orion's belt, like that's an asterism because technically it's just part of Orion, the actual official constellation. Orion's belt is not a constellation. It's an asterism, which is fine. You can still call it that, but it's just, it's not official. The other one is like the Big Dipper. The Big Dipper is not an official constellation. Like the Greeks didn't like, yeah, look at there's the Big Dipper. It's actually, there's more stars to it than just like the cup shape that make up Ursa Major. Its official name, which is the Great Bear, the Big Bear. So I would say my favorite constellation or asterism. Gosh, there's a lot of cool ones, but there's also a lot of really weird ones, like really weird. I would probably say my favorite one though is I to be honest, this is gonna sound weird. It's my favorite one, but I don't know the correct way to pronounce it. I've heard it multiple ways, and I don't know, but it looks like booties. This is gonna sound weird. Let me pull up Stellarium. I'll show it to you. It's some weird foreign or Latin or I don't know. Oh, the chat. Oh my goodness. Oh, hold on. This is full screen. Let me scale it up for you guys, and I'll throw it to Stellarium, and I'll show you my favorite constellation, and I'll tell you why it's my favorite constellation. Here we go. Here's Stellarium, my sky simulator. I'm gonna look around, and I actually want to look for here. Let me throw in the constellations. So here's all the constellations. For instance, like I was just talking about the Big Dipper, like there it is. Like the Big Dipper is just this one little section. It's not the whole thing. The whole thing is like all this. And if I throw on the pictures, there you can see the bear. it's a big bear. It's not a cup or a panhandle. It's a bear. So the Big Dipper is an asterism. Same thing with the Little Dipper. It's the little bear. Draco the Dragon's pretty cool. It's just below the Big Dipper. If you turn it off, you can see the dragon. It's really hard to see in the night sky. Same with the Little Dipper because of light pollution. Is booties? I've heard booties and buotes. Is it? Maybe it's not up right now. Maybe it's circumpolar navigation, or not navigation. Circumpolar constellations are constellations that are up all year in the north and all year in the south. I don't think there's some that are seasonal. I think maybe it's seasonal. I thought it was. Let me fast forward in time. Let me go to, sorry, strobing. I thought it was, maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. There it is. Here it is. I like this one. Let me put up, what even is it? It's a spearman. He's got a guy with a spear. Yeah. I like this one. It's kind of like a kite. And I like that shape. It's kind of cool, but it also has my favorite star in it, Arcturus. It's a big orange star, and I just always liked the name. I thought it was cool, and it's really easy to see with your eye, even in light polluted areas like Chicago or cities. Like you can see Arcturus, so I think it's cool, and I just like the constellation shape. And you can actually see the constellation if you're looking in the right place. So I would say that's my answer. Sorry that it was kind of long winded, but there it is. Let's see. Let me get back to the chat here because I can't look around my microphone. More stuff here. What is your favorite store on the Citadel? Yeah. That is also an amazing question. For those of you who are Mass Effect fans out there, you will know the line like, "I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store in the Citadel." Yeah, I don't remember the names of the stores in the Citadel. I remember some of the bars, but I don't know. But let's see here. If I could put, what store would I put on the Citadel? Maybe that will do that question here. I would put. Oh, I don't really go to many physical stores anymore, but I would put Collector's Outpost, which is a nice local store here. I love Collector's Outpost. That's where I get some Funko Pops. They got some really good stuff there. But there are local shopping malls in the area, and I would put a Collector's Outpost on the Citadel. That'd be my favorite store in the Citadel. What is your favorite Mass Effect companion combo? Bro, don't hit me with those questions so late at night. That's good stuff. Favorite companion combo in Mass Effect, you can pick 2 buddies or companions that go with you on missions at a time. Well, Garrus is a winner easily. Garrus Vakarian, and I also really liked Jacob Taylor. He was pretty cool. I would take him with when it was specifically in Mass Effect 2 and 3. If I were to pick 3, I'd probably do. Gosh, Rex. I don't. He's back in there, right? Yeah, you get him back. I'm blanking out. I'm drawing a huge blank on who would be in it. But I feel like you need like a good biotic as well. Who would you pick? Let me know. But I definitely put Garrus. Garrus for sure. The second slot is usually like a wild card, like who's good support beyond that. But I like a lot of firepower. Garrus for snipers. That's been fun. Which game's version of the Normandy was best? For those of you who don't know, the Normandy is the ship that you fly through space in Mass Effect. There were 2 versions of it, the SR-1 and the SR-2. First one got blown up. It was smaller. SR-2 was bigger and way cooler. I love the SR-2. So I would say SR-2. And I would probably say I did enjoy SR-2 Alliance version compared to the Cerberus version, but I do like the color scheme of Cerberus a little bit better than Alliance. So yeah, I'll just say Normandy SR2. Would you bring the collectors to the Citadel? That's dangerous. Collector's Outpost. Oh my gosh. People would have to people would freak out. Maybe we have to change the name of it. Thane and Miranda. Oh, dude, I love Thane. Thane is awesome. He's the assassin, the Drell assassin. Good combo. For those of you also out there who have played Mass Effect, what's your number 1 combo, companion combo? Sweet. Well, let's see here. I debated buying a projector at Target this week. There was like a $20 projector that had like space pictures in it. It was from the Smithsonian. They actually had like a licensed product that could like project light on the wall. It's super cheap, and it had like all the planets, the space station. And as soon as I saw the space station, I'm like, dude, that'd be awesome to like throw it up on the wall back here, take all this stuff down and do that during live streams. $20 isn't bad, but I think it's like really crummy. I looked up some reviews and just the quality just didn't look good. It was all like blue light. The color wasn't actually like accurate. I'm like, I don't want to get blue Jupiter, you know. Garrus and Grunt, that's a good combo, Josh. Grunt was awesome. So I debated buying that projector, and it just didn't quite make the cut. I didn't want to drop $20 on it. Liara and Javik for 3. Javik is great. Liara, of course, the unbeatable biotic queen. She's awesome. Cool. Well, let me transition to sort of like the fun things that you guys can be doing to think about space, to learn about space, look at space, and listen to space. This is the book I'm going to share with you guys this week. It's by British astronaut Tim Peake. Are you guys familiar with Tim Peake? He went up to the space station, gosh, 3 years ago now? When was it? Does he say in here? I don't think he does. But he's great. He was really cool. I think he's a British military guy, if I'm correct. But this book is a book of his pictures that he took from the space station. There he is in his spacesuit and doing an EVA. But he took pictures from space, and I'll just flash one really quick here for you so you can kind of get a sense of what I'm talking about. But like Here's a, you know, picture of some like snowy capped mountains he took from space. Um, it looks like satellite imagery, but he took it with a camera, which is awesome. It's a whole book of that. Again, I don't want to show you all of that because of copyright, but Tim Peake, Hello, Is This Planet Earth is the name of the book. I had someone actually pick this up for me from England. He went to England. He was from England, so he picked this up. So I'm really like glad to have this copy. I think it was, I don't think it was signed, right? Was it signed? I don't think it was autographed. No, I'm thinking of a different one. But really cool book. I highly recommend it. I don't know if it's available still or if it's got a lower price or what, but would recommend this book for just like a coffee table book. Cool pictures, pictures taken from space from a real astronaut, a British astronaut. So thinking about that. Music, space music. This is going to be another nerd reference, and I'm going to throw the stretch out here because it's just been prevalent for me recently. And Josh out there, you'll know what I'm talking about a little bit here. Because I sent this to you recently, but more video game references. There is a game in the Legend of Zelda series. If y'all are privy to Legend of Zelda, all the way from the 80s all the way to now, there was a game that came out in 2000 called Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. There's a portion in the game where you end up in this like observatory, which is really cool, and it's the tiniest little section of the game, but the music is amazing. And even in that Nintendo 64 game from the year 2000, the crummy quality of the music, it was enchanting and wondrous and cool. And again, I wish I could play samples on this channel for you guys. But I would encourage you guys to look up Astral Observatory Majora's Mask Zelda on YouTube or something. That I love that music. And the original is really great. And it's kind of this, I don't know, spacey, like astral feel to it, but there's a lot of like renditions, modern renditions that you can find on YouTube where people have like done higher fidelity versions of it with real instruments and not, 64-bit synthesizer, like MIDI instruments. They actually use like real instruments and recordings, and they've done some really cool interpretations. And I came across one, it's called Moon Tears. It's like an adaptation of it, and it's been in my head for the last like day or two, and I love it. And it'd be a perfect stargazing song. I think it's like 7 minutes. Let me see if I can find. Let's see. Is it Moon's Tears? Zelda. Moon's Tears, Astral Observatory. Yeah. There's a couple versions of it. It's like a 7-minute song, right? Is that it? Whatever. It's great. It's just really it's really enchanting, and it definitely increases the level of wonder. If you're outside looking in the night sky, throw on Moon's Tears or Astral Observatory from Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. It's awesome. So highly recommended. Dude, what's up, James? Hey man, welcome to the stream. No worries, man. There's no such thing as late. To quote Lord of the Rings, a wizard is never late. So I'm calling you a wizard at this point. Appreciate it. Glad you can make it. We are kind of on the tail end here, but no worries. We've been on for an hour and a half. This is great. Any space questions, James? I can answer some stuff for you, or think about it, or look some stuff up. Let's anything you ever want to know about space, throw it in the chat. Is there really a field and a tree inside the moon? That is it. Happens in that game. In Majora's Mask. Hopefully not. I don't want to find a tree and all the horrors that go with it, Josh. Cool. Well, I recommended a book. I recommended music. Did I have a movie? Let me see. Did I have a movie to recommend? A space movie. Gosh, I feel like I had something in my head and I am not remembering it. But what I am remembering though is the thing over here. So do you guys remember me plugging Celestial Buddies a while back? Like this plush Earth that I have that SpaceX sent up on their demo flight to be a zero gravity indicator. I have this Earth because I wanted one, and so did everyone else in the world. So they sold out of these, but they've got a ton more now. But I have Earth. Well, my wife got me a companion for Earth, which I'm stoked about. I got the moon. Check it out. Thanks, Kayla, for buying me the moon. So now I've got these like desktop friends here. I am also 7 years old, if you guys didn't know that. So I got Earth and the Moon. It's perfect. So I thought I'd show you guys the the Earth and the Moon hanging out. Book of Boba Fett space show. You're not wrong, Josh. You're not wrong. Let's see. Gosh, what is there? What is a good one? Space movie worth recommending. Oh, I know. Here's one. Have you guys seen Ad Astra with Brad Pitt? I've seen it once. I watched it maybe a year ago, and it was captivating. Weird and cool, but captivating. And there's some really neat things in there that I think they display visually really well. So I'd recommend you guys watching it. It is he's like a military guy, and his dad went missing on like an exploration mission on like a moon of Neptune or something, like way out there. So people have been colonizing places along the way in the solar system. They have a really cool depiction of a space elevator. Ron, weren't we talking about space elevators? Was that you? Recently we were talking about that. Who was that? Who was talking about space elevators with me? I thought that was you, Ron. But they have a space elevator. They do some really cool deep space stuff. They have some cool ships. There's some weird things in it, like strange happenings that I'm like, this probably wouldn't work or that wouldn't happen. It is, yeah, Josh, you didn't care for it. Yeah, it's a weird movie. I'm not gonna say it's like for everybody. It's not like a blockbuster level, like milestone movie for space movies, but it was fun. There's some cool stuff in it. It's definitely a mature movie, so don't watch it with your kids. Yeah, Ron, we were talking about it. Cool. But there's a space elevator in it. And they do some like battle sequences around it. Battle's the wrong word, but there's some action that happens with it. Pretty cool. So Ad Astra, the movie of the week. Also, Tim Peake, Hello, Is This Planet Earth? Check out that book, and then listen to Astral Observatory from Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Cool. Well, last call for any things to talk about regarding space. I'm glad all you guys are here. Thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. Really appreciate it. Let's talk about the channel and like what's coming up in the next few weeks. So obviously we're going in the new year. 2022 is in a couple days. I'm gonna do something. I can make the time for it. I would like to make some sort of a recap video on the channel that kind of recaps the year. So be on the lookout for that. That's gonna happen as soon as I can do that, and because not only is the year ending, but the Orbital Alliance turns 1 in a few weeks. So the channel's been around for 1 year. So thanks for sticking with me this whole time. This is amazing. I knew this was going to be a long journey. There was nothing about this is going to be fast, but I'm so happy with where we're at. But I want to take a respectable amount of time to just look back at the year and remember what content was made, the adventures I've been on, and just kind of set myself up well for the next year and content making. So gonna be good. So that's gonna be cool. So be on the lookout for that. And then yeah, I kind of went on a hiatus from editing after doing the Yorkies video. I got really worn out after that because I just poured so much effort into it. And then we got into the holidays, and now here we are at the new year. So I am re-upping my energy, and I'm going to get right back into the vlog that I shot down in Florida in early November, 2 months after the fact. But hey, there's no requirement here. I do want to finish that video and show you guys my trip there. It was really cool. Visit to the Space Coast at Kennedy Space Center, and got to adventure down there. So that video is coming in the pipeline, probably in a couple weeks at the earliest. So I wouldn't say any earlier than mid to late January, probably late January at best. So be on the lookout for that. Hey, James, got something here. I heard that space smells like a barbecue. Do you know if there's any truth to that? Yeah. I've heard astronauts talk about that before. People say that, like, when people come back from space, like from a spacewalk and come back into the space station, they said there's kind of a smell of like gunpowder. It smells burnt. There's like a burnt space and a burnt smell to that, and it fades away pretty quickly. And I think what I heard Chris Hadfield say about it isn't so much that, and he's a Canadian astronaut who's been on the space station a couple times. but I think it's that he said it's not so much that space itself smells like that. It's that there's probably like rocket residue being emitted, like engine residue from like, you know, the ship around them, and it's kind of clung to the ship and the stuff around it, and then it kind of gets on the spacesuit too once you touch it. And of course there's like no air to take it away. So if there is actually like residue coming off a rocket or like fuel or some form of like exhaust, it's just going to stick to the next thing, right? It's just going to float until it hits something. And if it hits the station or hits the shuttle or a space capsule, it's only going to be there until the next person touches it. If it's an astronaut, then they come back inside where there is air, then smell can actually happen. Air picks it up, moves it, goes in your nose, you smell it. And people say it smells like burnt barbecue or gunpowder. I feel like there's like a chemical that he named, but I'm not familiar with it. I just don't remember off the top of my head what it was. So yeah, I think it is true. It does have that smell. And it's not so much like that you're smelling like space is on fire or anything like that. But some parts of space are. The sun is burning, but yeah, it is true. And I think it's very interesting. I would be curious to know what that smell actually smells like, and how strong it is. Like, is it like, oh yeah, I kind of smell a whiff of that, or is it like, whoa, dude, you smell burnt, man? Like, get back out there. I don't know. If we ever get an astronaut on here who's done an EVA, we'll ask him that question. James, thank you for that. I will put that on the list for sure. Sweet. Yeah. Good deal. Side note too, if you guys I mentioned the show The Expanse a couple streams ago. The final season is airing right now every Friday. I think every Friday, Thursday or Friday on Amazon Prime. And that is a spacey show. Let me tell you, accurate space stuff up in there. But episode 3 of season 6, the final season, has aired this week. And actually, or last week, and the next one will come up maybe late tomorrow, early Friday. So definitely watch The Expanse if you're into it. Again, an adult show, adult content, language, violence, mature content in there, but it's amazing. It depicts space really, really well. And the drama is so good. I love The Expanse. So if you guys are watching that, let me know. Tweet me. If you know me personally, tell me in person. Would love to talk about The Expanse. Space barbecue candles from Serenity by Jan. Okay, 2 things. First of all, amazing content right there. I think if you can make a candle that embraces the smell of space, let's do it. Let's make that happen. That's awesome. But also the Serenity by Jan Office reference from season 4 where Jan was making candles. Amazing, dude. Too good. Yeah. And then so speaking of Serenity, another space show you guys should watch, Firefly. Who's watched Firefly? Any of you guys watched Firefly? I watched it years ago. It's from 2002, and my wife and I watched it like, gosh, 2016, 2017. It's only 1 season. It's like 17 episodes or 20 episodes or something. I don't know. It's really short. It got canceled, and there was this massive fan outrage for the show. And people got really upset because they never finished the story. It kind of ended cold, but then they made a movie called Serenity to wrap it up. And I still haven't seen Serenity, but I've kind of been rewatching like a first time watch YouTube channel. Popcorn in Bed is the name of it. And it's like, she's been watching all Firefly, and it's like a space cowboy outlaw, kind of like Robin Hood, like kind of good cowboys, good criminals. It's really fun. Nathan Fillion's in it, Alan Tudyk, a couple other like big name actors, and it's super fun. Ron, you've seen it? Great. James, you said you got halfway through it before Netflix dropped it. Yeah, sorry, man. I don't know what it's on now, like the full episodes. I've just been watching like the recaps, because like some people like do first time watches where they kind of condense it and they chop stuff up so they can make it a YouTube video about it. It's like a reaction video. I've been watching the reaction videos, but there's enough content in there where I'm like, oh yeah, I feel like I'm watching the episode without missing too much detail. So it's like a good refresher. Popcorn in Bed is where we've been watching it. I think there's another one that's out tomorrow. There's just like episode 12 and 13 or 11 and 12. Troy and Abed are going to get that show back on the air. We're going to get this show back on the air, buddy. That's true. Another community reference there. They talk about Firefly and how amazing it is. But if you're in like, yeah, it's like space and like I said, outlaws, like space governments, planetary colonization. It's really neat. It's a really low budget show directed by Joss Whedon, but it's really good. It's just good dialogue, good story, and amazing characters in a cool space environment. So watch Firefly. And the reason I brought that up too is not only because of the Serenity reference, which is the name of the ship in Firefly, but I feel like The Expanse is kind of like mature Firefly. It's like a couple levels up in maturity and depth and quality, like way more in quality. But it's similar, and I think if you like Firefly, you'll like The Expanse. Connected. There we go. Sweet deal. All right, you guys, I'm probably going to call it here. It's getting late. It's 9:40, and we've had a super long live stream tonight. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and for watching tonight. This has been the best stream in a long time. I'm not that the others have been bad, but this has just been very alive, super funny. I really appreciate your guys' participation in the chat. And because I mean, that makes it. I like talking with you guys. Like, as you know, are longtime friends, and I'm glad to hang out with you in some way or another. Certainly now during COVID, when you can't see people, this is one way to do it. So really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Again, if you're watching this later after the live stream, whenever you get the chance, you know, we're here live on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central Time in the United States. Which reminds me, I will definitely not be live next week. So if you guys are watching here, I will not be live next week. The only thing that might be live is if I have the time, I might pre-record something and then stream it at 8 p.m. next week. I'll do my best if I can, but most likely I won't be. So I know I had something that was pre-scheduled, a couple months ago that was on a Wednesday night, so I won't be able to move it. Unless I do the stream on like Tuesday or something like that, but maybe I'll move it. We'll see. Stay posted on my Twitter and Instagram, and I'll post to that what's going to happen. So just, you know, next week will probably be different, or I won't do any stream at all. But yeah, again, I'm grateful for you guys hanging out. And if you're new, be sure to subscribe. Don't miss content. Don't miss when streams go live, and we'll talk more about space every week. So cool. Let me cue up my thing here. Great. Well, you guys have a wonderful week. Enjoy your New Year celebrations. Stay safe. Not only just if you're going out, and, you know, be careful of crazy drivers who might be intoxicated. Don't get hurt. You stay safe wherever you are, and be safe with COVID. If you're gathering with people, do all the precautions that you can to make sure you're not spreading COVID, because it just has been so nasty this year. It's upended every part of our family's holidays. You know, just so many people have gotten it. And hopefully you guys are staying clear from it as well. So either way, 2022, ringing the new year. Thank you guys for sticking with me here on the Orbital Alliance in 2021. You guys are awesome. Take it easy. And of course, as always, I will see you all on the other side. Either way, 2022, ringing the new year. Thank you guys for sticking with me here on the Orbital Alliance in 2021. You guys are awesome. Take it easy. And of course, as always, I will see you all on the other side.